Hey, everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here today with the one and only Destiny Hess here from Schaeffler. What's going on, Destiny? How are you doing?
Hey Ben, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for asking me to come.
This is really cool having you on. I was like, I didn't know if you were going to say yes. And then here you are. And I'm like super stoked about it because I saw, and you know what? We have a lot of folks here who are really excited to hear from you, apparently.
Yay, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so get in the comments, y'all. Let us know who you are, where you are. Check in with me and Destiny. We're gonna be talking about, everything from public speaking. I saw you in Tennessee to your RMC RFP that you've been going through and what you've learned from that process to pet Instagram accounts. We're gonna be all over the place here.
Sounds great. It's gonna be a good
Yeah.
good discussion.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited. Hey, so where in the world are you right now?
I am in Ohio. Sorry I couldn't make it to Texas,
It's
would love to
okay.
enjoy some of that Texas heat, but I'm here in Ohio in muggy, rainy weather. So
Okay. All right. Nice. And sorry, whereabouts in Ohio are you?
I live in Orville, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
Where
about
where is that? What part of the state are we in there?
It's like northeast, kind of
So
middle of
like
nowhere, like
Cleveland
right
area or
outside of.
what?
I'm about an hour south of Cleveland, about two
Okay.
hours northeast of Columbus. So
Okay.
yes,
All right.
very, very much nowhere. No one really knows about it unless you like really pay attention to the J.M. Smucker Company because their global headquarters is in Orville, Ohio. It's where they started.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's kind of a little
So
cool,
you
cool
grow up
topic.
you grew up on some good jam then, some good
Oh
jello jam
yes,
quality.
absolutely.
Okay. My stepmother was from Lima, Ohio. So I would go to
Oh, okay.
Ohio quite a bit growing up. So I know a little bit about it. A little here and there, enough to be dangerous. We got people checking in. Get in the comments, y'all. Let us know who you are, where you are. Sharina checking in. Hello from Gloma HQ. Super producer Sharina, appreciate you. Stacy Miller Chere, looking forward to this one. Kimberly Chacon says it's going to be a great one. Can't wait to tune in. Jana Edgar over here. Hi, Destiny. Nice to meet you. Looking forward to hearing from you today. Thank you,
Oh, thank
Jana.
you. That's amazing.
Don't
Yes.
we have
Nice
such a
to
great
meet you too.
industry? So welcoming.
Oh, hey, Daisy. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Look at this. We got a bunch. Get in here. We got Matt Estrich over here. I had a chance to be on a panel with her for TRC earlier this year, and she crushed it. That's
Oh,
nice.
Matthew was great. He was such a great panelist. He had so much great information. It was
What
really
did
great to
y'all
sit on the
talk
panel with him.
about?
That was an RFP panel. So, kind of a topic I'm hoping we're going to discuss today, right?
Yeah,
We got to sit down with a couple corporates as well as the purchasing side, and then Matt came in from the supplier side for the big panel discussion on RFPs that day. So it was really great to kind of get all the views and answer questions from the audience from the various corporates and suppliers in the audience.
that's got to be one of the hottest topics. Everybody wants to know what goes in an RFP. All the suppliers want to know how do I win. All the corporate folks probably want to know how do I do this. Is this something you've always known how to do, or is this a new skill unlocked here?
This is my first ever RFP experience.
What?
Yeah, so it's been a very big learning process for me throughout this whole thing. We started about a year ago going into an RFI. We're in the trenches. We're about to finalize it, but it's a lot. I didn't realize it was as much as it has been.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been great, and now I feel incredibly passionate about it. So I'm like, if you want to talk RFPs, here I
Yeah,
am.
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Do you have advice, for people who are going through this or considering an RFP? It looks like, we got a few pieces of advice here. What's three pieces of advice you would give people?
Yeah, I mean, I think if this is an RFP that you're going to be involved in from the corporate side and purchasing's not taking the lead, I think there's so much to be learned through this process. You learn so much from the RMCs, but I think in these discussions, you also really figure out a lot about yourself and your mobility team, your program, and what you have hopes for this program, things that you can, implement. And there's a lot of growth in there.
Yeah, I think this is a really good one, actually. I mean, it kind of sounds obvious on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think there's so many people that don't want to start something until
Mhm.
they know everything there is about it. And what I'm kind of hearing from you is like you learn by doing sometimes.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I think that's how I got through college was learning, going through it and like this RFP now. That's what I'm doing. It's as someone newer to the mobility world, there's been a lot to learn and I'm always learning, but this RFP there was just so much aha moments and it clicks and you're like, I never thought of it this way and I think that's been great learning through this whole process.
What kind of triggered this in your mind? What kind of triggered this process?
The RFP.
Yeah, yeah. Like why'd you start it? I mean, it's a lot of folks, go through it and they're like, oh gosh, don't fix what's not already broke, or we're just gonna get by and go along to kind of get along and just kind of, it sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do it. Like, what was it for you that where you're like, okay, we need to endeavor to do this?
Um, we hadn't done an RFP in quite some time, and everyone on our current team had not been part of the last RMC RFP. So we were kind of hitting a point internally anyway where we were getting to that policy standpoint where we needed to run an RFP, but we also just went through a company acquisition in 2024. So a lot of changes in policies and looking at how this program develops further. So it was finally time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And because so part of it sounds like was the fact that you kind of best practices to go through them every so often anyway from a procurement standpoint.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Was there anything surprising about that like you didn't think you were gonna find, or you didn't think was that you didn't suspect was gonna happen in this process?
One thing that I really learned about through this whole process is RMC costs. And I
Really?
think I went in and thought, we're just paying them these direct costs. But, there's so much more to it in the background between, their supplier relationships, those pass through costs. So that was a huge learning experience for me through this and for my team as well. Like I said, we started an RFI. So, and we're just thinking, okay, are they going to be able to meet our scope of work? But then, it comes back and we're looking at these costs and we're like, wow, we had no idea. And it kind of changes
Really?
things a little bit. Oh, yeah, for
Well,
sure.
stay on that for a second because you talked about the RFI.
Mhm.
Like, when should you do an RFI versus doing an RFP? Like, help us, like, what's the difference here, and like how do you do it?
Well, I think for us, we were rebuilding policies and kind of renavigating our program. And for us, an RFI, this request for information, was to help us kind of learn what's out there in the RMC world, who's going to be able to kind of really help us take our program to the next level, help us develop these new policies, give us that great benchmarking information because we just haven't had it in a while. So I think the request for information was really great to see, okay, can they manage our current scope and what we hope for in the future? But we have some other ideas in terms of technology and just other pieces of the program that maybe we could bring in. And in that request for information, it was let's see, who can match that up with us.
So, did the RFI did you like find things out in the RFI process that like you actually incorporated into the RFP?
Yes, we did. Yeah. I mean, our team manages a lot internally. So it was kind of, I think, a lot of the RMC services that we're looking for in relocation, but we were kind of asking some other topics that are in our team scope that maybe aren't typically part of the RMC scope. So we
Okay.
were able to kind of navigate if those RMCs were going to be able to pick that up and how they're going to run with it and how they're going to help us with it. And so that's been a huge part of our RFP.
Could you give me like an example of like one of the things that like came up that you said, oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting. We should look at that.
so I've been managing corporate housing for a couple of our locations in Schaeffler, US, and it's a lot. Making the payments, managing leases, and there's a lot of other things that go in the background of that with the employees. So he kind of we're navigating, okay, could you help us take over property management? Can you help us with navigating these leases, the reports that we need, the end of the year tax information that we need? That was a big one. And that's a huge part of our RFP right now.
And so when you said you were managing corporate housing, like, were you managing actual like units and like buildings, or were you managing providers?
So we have like a small property manager at two of our locations who are doing kind of the on the ground nitty gritty. But I am signing and reviewing all the leases and I'm
Wow.
doing all of the payments and expensing for them internally. So it's a huge undertaking,
Yeah.
especially with how many units that we have and the areas that we have them. We have these in place in our more rural areas, that you don't see where you can get housing easily. So yeah, it's been fun.
You don't have to like go out and like get the cable hooked up, or do you? I mean, like, you don't got to go like, God forbid, like clean a toilet or make a bed. I mean, you don't got to do all that, do you?
No,
Okay, good. Woo.
no,
I
no,
was I
no.
was worried about there.
The property manager
Okay.
it takes care of those tasks for us. But I mean, and if we have like VIPs coming in and so forth, or we're just trying to kind of, it's been a couple years, let's go in and take a look at these units that we're paying for before we renew the lease. I'll go and be on the ground and kind of go in, take photos, and just navigate. Is this something we should keep, or should we, if we're going to keep it, tell the landlord, hey, you need to do something about this.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because when I was in Michigan, one of my friends was managing a corporate program in Central Michigan, and she held keys to those units, and
Hmm.
she was very involved, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of anybody who did what you do, actually like signing leases and going out, making sure the fire sticks are working, and like actually like she actually like had these units under her, control, because they had a corporate headquarters in a part of the country that just wasn't, you know, that popular, wasn't a big city, right? And so,
Hmm.
yeah, I was surprised, but I mean, it made a lot of sense, and especially from like a cost saving standpoint. I mean, they were able to manage the cost pretty tightly, but I mean, there was obviously a lot of work that went into it. So,
Oh
so
yeah.
so then corporate housing kind of became part of this RFP. Then, are you saying, through that
Oh
process,
yeah.
or
And
yeah?
I think it was kind of funny, I had some conversations with these RMCs kind of before launching the RFI, right? Just to kind of see who they are, kind of maybe get a quick tech demo. And, we're talking about some of our pain points. And I was mentioning corporate housing, and they were like, you're doing what?
Yeah, kind of like
You're
me,
like,
probably just now. Yeah.
yeah, they were like, You're doing all of that." So yeah, it became a really big piece because I think at the end of the day, like we kind of figured out, you know what? Everyone can kind of manage the scope of work, the normal, right?
Mhm.
Your shipment of goods, your temp housing. But, we have some of these other topics internally that I think we could really need some support, some help. And so it,
Right.
it really became, I think, the biggest part of our RFP. And I think that's where we are now. Every time we're like on an internal call, we're like, all right, as long as property management is is key here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a non-negotiable. That's awesome.
yes.
Get in the comments, y'all. I want to hear from you out there. I think this is such an amazing opportunity to have a conversation about an RFP process. It's so, so candid like this, because, we all go through these on one side or the other, and it's just one of those things that I don't think we talk about enough. Yeah. I don't know if it's taboo or what, but like, we just don't want to talk about it, but we're all going through it. And so I love it. Get in the comments, y'all. If you got questions for Destiny, as well, get in here. Jillian saying, I second this. When I heard there was a pet IG, I was like, I'm going to need more info. Yes,
Oh
Jill,
no.
stay tuned here. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I promise you. Heather Jameson says, hi, Ben and Destiny. So nice to see you.
Oh, I love Heather.
She's great. She's a blast. Heather, I was just talking about you today. We got a new hire on our team that's based in Detroit. I'm going to connect him to you. His name's Tony. You're going to love him.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, she's the person to be connected to in Detroit. I feel like she took me on the best tour
A
when I
thousand
went for my
percent.
first time.
Are you going to the Great Lakes Relocation Conference?
Yeah, Heather asked me to be on program committee for the corporate stuff, so I've been involved and I will definitely be there. So hopefully you will be too.
I'm planning on it. Well, if Heather asked me, and if Heather asked you, you got to do it.
Hey,
That's kind of the rule, right?
exactly. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Get in the comments, y'all. If you got questions for Destiny, or you just want to check in, let us know who you are, where you are. Kara says, interesting to hear how it works on the corporate side. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get into it, Kara. If you got any questions, get it in there. Heather says, "Shout out from Relo Palooza." A lot of our friends are at Relo Palooza right now in Raleigh.
Uh-huh. Yes, I've seen so many photos and videos already on LinkedIn, so it looks like it's a great time.
The photos are crazy with all like the '90s gear and like all the
Yes. Oh
fluorescent
my gosh, I love
colors.
it. And I love that people
Yeah.
like showed up with the fits. I'm like, that's incredible. That's dedication.
Yes, it is.
It's
The
fantastic.
tracksuits are in full effect in Raleigh right now, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, we were talking about advice for people going through the RFP process. You gave us the first one, learn through the process.
Mhm.
What's the second one?
The second one was digging into costs, making sure you're understanding. I think, especially from our perspective, again, this is, first RFP in a while. We're having to take a lot of these discussions and costs back to our leadership. And, you need to make sure that you understand how those costs work. But when you're taking it to your leadership and your executive board, you also need to make sure that they're understanding the importance of this and why these costs are important and how these costs are going to work in this program.
How do you get to that? Because I hear this over and over. I was talking to the head of procurement for a really big program a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, how there's not a lot of transparency here. That's a common complaint I'm hearing. So how do you really get to the bottom of it?
It's tough. I think coming through this RFP, we've realized it's really hard to compare apples to apples here.
Hmm.
Everyone kind of is doing costs maybe a little differently, so maybe they're putting costs differently here and then they're applying costs somewhere else. That's made it incredibly tough. So like we've been working on it with our procurement team and they're also like, wait a minute. And we've been trying to figure out, okay, how do we go back for an RFQ and ask these questions and ask for quoting this differently? That's been a huge challenge, but it's been nice because these RMCs, they're really knowledgeable and they can be very open if you're working with the great ones, right?
Hmm.
So you go to them and you're saying, "Hey, I don't understand your apple here versus someone else's apple.
Hmm.
Where are these costs coming from and how do they look?" And you get some really great information on how they're working with their suppliers with those direct costs. So you really have to ask those questions and really take a look. I think that's the important part is just really taking a look and asking those questions. If you don't, then you're going to miss it.
What question should you ask? Like, give me an example of a question that you found to be really revelatory.
I mean, we went through and we asked directly, okay, we need to understand how your direct costs and your pass-through costs work. So whether that's you're using our RFQ template or your own template and kind of breaking down that scope of work, we need to understand how these costs are working between coming directly from you, the RMC, through the suppliers for shipment of goods and vice versa. And we need to see that breakdown. So it wasn't like a big question ask. It was like a to-do ask. We need to see this. This is part of, how we're going to make a decision. We need to see this.
So kind of showing how much they're buying the service for and then how much they're selling the service for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that, and that helps with the transparency so we can see it looks like with their partnerships, right? That was a really important topic for us, as well as, just kind of understanding how they're, with those costs, right? Like we want to make sure that these suppliers that are going to be working with this RMC and our team are also, you know, they're going to be good for our employees and for our program. So also kind of understanding how, they're looking at those costs and how they're assigning those costs, and choosing these partners was really important and how they're awarding that business.
Yeah. What do you think is like one of the more common misconceptions on the corporate side about how this all works?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Huh. Misconceptions about how works. I think like I went into this thinking it was going to be easy. Like, I'm thinking, all right,
Right.
these RMCs, like they're going to show up and it's going to be easy. And it hasn't been. And I don't say that in any negative way because it was, like I said, it was a learning experience. And for me it really was like oh, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
And so I think if you've never done a full RFP for these services before, I think you're going to be in for a shock because I think you're going to go into it, or maybe you already have a current partner and you're just like, yeah, okay, we know what they do. It's no big deal. And it's a much more big deal.
How often do you think people should go through this process? What would you recommend?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think, like our policies, every 3 to 5 years. Um, and I think it makes sense to do it every few years. And I say that just because everything is always changing. And that's one thing I've learned coming into the mobility realm is that things are always changing up.
Hmm.
Out there across the mobility ecosystem between, immigration, right now we're seeing, the changes with tariffs. So things are changing and you want to make sure that the partners that you're choosing are also changing and being flexible as these changes are happening. And I think it's important to go out and see what those costs look like, what they're doing out in the ecosystem for their program as well as what they can do for yours. So yeah, I mean, I think every couple of years is
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah. What about, you mentioned immigration, for instance, and we have seen so
Mhm.
much change in that area and everything. I mean, was that part of the scope of this?
So we did immigration separately. So our immigration specialist internally did a
Okay.
RFP for those services separately. And they actually did that right before I joined the team. So I didn't get to take part in it. Um, but we
Okay.
do those every so often as well.
Okay. And when did you join the team?
I joined the team the end of 2022. So I've been with Schaeffler going on 8 years this September.
Okay.
And I started off in HR at one of the manufacturing plants here in Ohio and then made the change end of
What was
2022.
that change like for you? I'm going off on a sidebar here, but I'm really curious, like, how about how people end up in this role?
Yeah, so I was doing more operational HR over production, and there was a lot of things that I loved, but I started realizing there was a lot of things that I thought, oh, I don't know if I can see this being my career for forever.
Hmm.
And so at that same time, I got a lot more involved from the HR side with onboarding our assignees as well as our international relocations and kind of working more with the immigration and mobility team. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting. And I was like, I would love to learn more about immigration and about, how these things work because something I very much have put at the forefront of my mind since coming into HR is the employee experience and
Yeah.
showing up for the employee and helping them with their career. So I thought, oh, maybe we'll do a little change, and we did, and now I'm here, and now I can't wait to be someone who says I've been in mobility for 20 plus years.
Yeah. So do you feel like you found like your kind of, forever home or, job assignment kind of?
Yeah, I definitely want to stay within the mobility relocation realm. I think for my career, I feel incredibly passionate about it. I'm always trying to learn more, get involved, and that's a great feeling to be here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, and the people are so great, right? So it
Oh my
feels
gosh, yes.
right. So and I think sometimes that makes up a little bit for how alone folks can feel the sit in your role inside the organization because you're the only one that knows what you do, or you're only one of a couple, right? It's
Hmm.
not a big mobility department typically in companies, right? But then when you come to the Great Lakes Relocation Conference, or you go to WERC or FEM or any of these, and then you connect with, like, what I hear is, you connect with your kind of your people, and have that commonality, and it's just always so much warmth.
I think that's been one of my most favorite parts of joining the world of mobility is the community. And I think it surprised me at first because I attended my first WERC in Boston. What was that, 2024? Um, and I walked in there and was like, who knew that the community was like this? And then I went last year in Salt Lake City and it was like a whole different world because now it's like I'm being stopped every time I leave a room or you're walking in and people at the tables and you're sitting and it's just like
Yeah.
small, it feels like a small world, but it's such a big community and it's so beautiful. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Get in the comments, y'all. I'd love to hear from you out there. We're talking to Destiny Hess here at Schaeffler. And Melody says, howdy, Destiny. I think we may have met at TRC. I've been there and done that walk-in unit, signing leases, handling
Oh.
move-ins and move-outs, and juggling all the moving pieces that come with corporate housing. Enjoying this podcast and your take on RMC. Tell us more. All right. Okay, Mel, I see you. Well, we'll
Ah.
we'll get to more. Heather says, "What I love about Destiny is her passion to learn. You are like a sponge, and it is so refreshing." Is that
Oh
true?
my gosh. Yes, I like I said, I love learning. I'm always trying to get involved and ask questions. And that's another really beautiful part of this community is you get connected with one person and you start on one topic and they're like, you know what? I know someone who is going to be able to give you great information on this. And it's just a web of just connecting constantly and learning. And it is just, like I said, it's beautiful. It's my favorite place to be.
Yeah, I agree. I know I had the same feeling when I walked into my first ERC. It was back in, I think it was like 2011 or something. And I just remembered like being like, this is work. Like this is the job, huh? Okay, this is really cool. Like everybody's having a good time. Everybody, it was in San Antonio, it was on the Riverwalk, so everyone was just having a blast. Um, but I also remembered how close everybody was and how I was felt like a little bit of an outsider in that situation. But I knew I wanted to be an insider, and I was like, I need to figure out how to like worm my way into this business, and I did. So
Hey, yeah, I mean, you're doing amazing, right? Love and
yeah,
Relo talk show and Gloma. I mean, I mean, you're out there. Like, I'm
yeah.
like Ben Cross. Yeah, yeah,
Well, thank you. We gotta hang out sometime in person though. That's we gotta put that on our list for Chicago maybe or for Detroit soon.
yes, yes.
Let's
I
let's
can't
see here.
believe time's flying.
I know it's gonna be here before we know it. I asked you for three pieces of advice you would give to anyone doing an RMC RFP, and I would like to hear the third piece of advice.
The third piece, I think it's really knowing what you want out of this RFP. Is this just a procurement exercise, or are you going to take this as an opportunity to really look into your program? And that's kind of what we did. It was, all right, let's sit down and let's take a look at what we're doing daily, even all those little small things that kind of fall between the cracks you don't think about. What
Yeah,
are we doing? And where do we want to go? And what do we want to get out of this RFP that's going to align with these goals? That was a really big part of launching this RFI and moving through this entire RFP. We didn't want this to just be a procurement exercise. This is our team. This is someone we're going to partner with that's going to be an extension of our team for, a couple years probably. And these are people we're going to trust our employees with. So we really, we wanted to know what we were getting into and had those expectations and goals
yeah.
before, going into it.
What does a clear objective mean to you? What does it have to really meet the muster there?
Oh my gosh, set a clear objective. I think my objectives change all the time.
Didn't say it had to be the same, just clear in the moment. Yeah, yeah,
Oh man, set a clear objective. I mean, for us going into this, we knew we were a clear objective was we need to go to one partner and we need this one partner to be our extension of our team and be able to handle this entire scope of work.
yeah,
The little pieces and things can, be kind of worked in throughout this RFP, but the clear objective was our program is not where it should be. We have outdated policies and we're working with several different providers and our objective is this is clear to us that this is where we need to take these things. And this is what our partner needs to be.
So get to. It sounds like I'm hearing get to one partner, update the policies to be current. Was there
Mhm.
a cost savings objective in this process, or was it more
Oh,
about?
of course, yeah. I mean, we've been trying to look at that internally, and I've been kind of trying to partner with our, HR, kind of see what everyone's doing and what they're hearing from employees and how we can make these policies be more employee friendly and more competitive in the market. But how are we also going to be able to look at those cost savings, and implement these policies that are going to help us get there, and we can really show that to our stakeholder leadership.
Yeah, how do you balance that? It's so hard, right? Because you always hear you get what you pay for, right? And it's like,
Oh,
how do you balance the employee experience, which everybody says that they prioritize, and then with
mhm,
the cost, right, which we always know is getting pressure, you
mhm.
know? How do you balance the two? What?
Oh my gosh, I think like that's hard because the HR side, I'm like, employee experience, and then the procurement side is like, great, but yeah, we got to look at these costs better. And you're like, but the employee experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough battle, especially when you're working for such a big corporation. I think for us, a big piece of what's helped here is that seat at the table. And this is a topic that I've heard about the last year. Everyone's like, how do we get a seat at the table? How do we have these conversations with, leadership? Because
Yeah.
there's a there's a big chance that no one really understands what's going into the employee mobility behind the scenes, right? They're looking at those costs and they just want to make sure that, okay, great, the employee got moved, everything worked out. Um, but then you bring in that balance there, right? And it's like, great, yeah, we're looking at these costs, but what really is the employee experience? And you have to take that up to them and say, it's not just the cost that we need to look at here. And that's been a huge part of our RFP. We're like,
Yeah.
thanks procurement that you care about the cost, but our executive leadership who we've been able to go up to and give this information to has been great.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have one that's kind of one aspect of that, right? The employee experience, which is kind of fuzzy and like squishy, and you're like, what does that mean, and how do we quantify that? And then you have hard dollar cost over here, It's like, okay, we know what we're spending. How do we know how happy it makes people or successful or effective? And it's one thing that's like super hard and empirical, and one thing that's super squishy and like touchy feely almost, in my opinion. And I feel it's hard to like make a correlation or say, it's because then at the end of the day, if we say you get what you pay for, in that is a premise that the more we spend, the happier we're going to be, or the more engaged, or the less turnover and retention, better retention is going to be, all these things. But then it's back on us to like kind of prove that's true,
Yes.
right? And that's tricky.
Yeah, and I think that's been like a really hard argument for us, right? Because purchasing is really only looking at the one thing, and we're having to go to our leadership and we're like, we have to fight this battle and we
Hmm.
need everyone to understand. And I'll never forget, we currently have someone on our procurement team from Germany, and he's never done an RFP for like RMC services or anything like this topic. And he sat in for like the in-person meetings with us, and afterwards we were sitting down and he was like, now I understand why you guys are fighting so hard to balance the two, because like there's so much more in this than it's just the cost. He sat with us, I mean, 4 or 5 hours every day. We met these suppliers and really heard our questions and heard our pain points. And that was refreshing. It was like, finally, like someone from the
Yeah.
procurement side can really go in and be like, hey, this is a really big topic and it's not just cost. So,
Yeah. So it's almost like maybe a fourth piece of advice might be to have those stakeholders sit through those presentations and really
oh yeah.
get the narrative of it. Heather's got a great question. Get in the comments, y'all, with your questions and your comments here. Actually, before I get to Heather's, I'm going to read Zeta's real quick here. She says, I completely agree with Destiny. Setting out very clear objectives of the needs and, quote, nice to have, quote, things. Being able to set the right expectations for everyone helps immensely. Yeah. Getting them to buy in on that too.
Yes. Yes, that's so important. I mean, you have to have a table of people ready to fight for the employee experience in this. And I think one thing I've learned is mobility is so much bigger than everyone thinks it is. Especially when you're moving hundreds of people, you can't just look at costs. I mean, I know it's expensive, but I mean, there's so much more that goes into it. It's huge.
Yeah. It's a great point. Heather's got a great question here. Get in the comments with y'all with your questions here. Hit that like button for Destiny.
Confidence.
She says, what has
Ooh.
been the challenges with your HQ mother company being from Germany and dealing with the cultural differences with your German entity and those differences?
Oh man, I could probably talk about this all day too. I have a really great relationship with our German team. They're fantastic, but there are those challenges, and I don't even see it just with Germany. Our team is over the Americas as a whole. We have locations all across North America as well as, South America as well. And there's always cultural differences, and how do you bring those together? And I think that was a really big important piece going into this RFP is how are you going to be able to help us navigate moving those different cultures and working with those different cultures, because everywhere is different. But I think we run into the problem sometimes with policies, because you're being handed a policy from Germany and you're like, well, how do we fit this into the US? How do we fit this into Mexico? Because everything's so different. So I think that's always kind of the battle. We go back and we're like, thank you for your support, but I don't think this makes sense for here right now, right?
Yes. Thank you for your support. My
Yes.
favorite was, we'll take that under advisement. It's like,
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we see that so much because US immigration has become, right, this huge topic for everyone. And we
yeah.
have, I think last year we had 900 plus visitors in the US for business travel. So um, there's always that back and forth of this is what we need to do in the US. And I get like the headquarters is trying to hand it down, but it's how do we bring this together so it makes sense for all the locations it needs to.
Now, do you have a counterpart that does what you do in Germany, or do you do all of it yourself, or how's that work?
Yeah, so there's a mobility team in Germany or Europe, and they do kind of the other side of things if we're bringing someone from Germany or Europe into the US, and then vice versa, like we kind of manage it together.
Okay. Cool.
Hmm.
Cool. Great question, Heather. I love talking about that with these multinational kind of manufacturing or whatever kind of companies, that deal with this stuff. Get in the comments, y'all, if you have questions for Destiny. We will take those questions. Hit that like button as well. She's doing phenomenal.
Oh,
Loving
thank you.
it. Loving it. When did you know that you wanted to do more speaking and more panels and stuff like that? Or did people like me just rope you into it? How'd that work?
I got introduced to Heather actually, like probably
Uh,
springtime last year.
Blame Heather.
And
All right.
well, we came through we got introduced because I was getting ready to launch this RFI. And so they did she's the president of the Michigan Relocation Council, and they did an RFP panel September last year. And she's like, hey, like you're going through the trenches right now. Will you speak on
Mhm.
this panel? And I did it, and I was so nervous. Especially, I felt like I kind of had like this imposter syndrome because I was
Mhm.
like, I'm so new to
Right.
mobility, and I'm going to be sitting with people who have a lot of knowledge. But I loved it, and I was like, at that point, I like opened it up. Everyone was like, saying, "Hey, like you did great," and I was like, "Thanks, ask me to speak anytime." Like,
Yeah.
I'm
When
ready.
did when did it change? Did something click for you? I know that imposter syndrome thing just pops up for all of us all the time. What helped you get past that?
Um, Feeling like it was okay to open up and speak on my passion. And because it's like one thing to speak to my internal team about how passionate I am about these topics, but like to actually get out in front of people from corporates to suppliers and really speak on it, to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I really love this. Um, and I think it clicked with me then on that first panel where I was so nervous, but then like it went through and I was like, I would love to keep doing this. Like, I would love to
Mhm.
be more involved in the ecosystem in terms of having these conversations, these speaking engagements. And now, yeah, like I said, now I'm like, yeah, ask me to talk whenever, please.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And that's honestly your reaction from the Tennessee one was what led me to reach out to you and say, hey, if you like that, let's try this.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Heather saying Destiny was so great on the panel and funny, such a great panel. She didn't say so
Oh.
herself. Jimmy, great stuff. I see you, Jim. Awesome. I saw your team down there in Raleigh too, and Relo Palooza rocking the fits too. Looking good out there. Shout
Oh
out to
my
Tommy.
gosh.
Yeah. Speaking of fits and social media and whatnot here,
Oh.
I heard a rumor that you have a pet Instagram account. Do you have an influencer?
um yeah. So I do have a pet Instagram account if anyone's interested in following it on Instagram or
I think
TikTok.
we all are.
I started this account back in 2018 for my dog who recently earlier this year crossed over the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh,
And I had a friend who was like, "Hey, I'm like posting pictures of my dog and like these people want me to be an ambassador." And I was like, Oh, like I would do that. But I fell into I worked full time and went to school full time, and it was just really hard to kind of keep up with it. So it kind of became more of a place to occasionally dump photos and videos. But within the last year, I was like, oh, my cats are funny. Like I should start posting funny things about my cats. And then I rescued my new dog, Rowie, and I was like, he's young, he's cute.
He's
I was like,
the new face of the
yes.
Instagram account. Love it.
So it's kind of taken off. It's a lot of hard work. I'm going to tell you all. I didn't realize the hard work that goes into it because you have to be engaging and you're posting all the time. The hashtags, there's so much that goes into it. But we reached over 500 followers on Instagram, and I thought that was a
Nice.
win. So
That's awesome. I think you're about to have a few more here in a bit here.
hey, I
Uh,
hope so.
yeah. So now Roey's the face of the account now, and how does
Yes.
Roey feel about that?
I think he loves it. He became an ambassador for a brand that we love. So we get a discount code for all of our friends who want to use it, but we get a discount code for ourselves, and it's his favorite product. So right now he's spoiled. I think he's
What
loving
product
it.
Is Roey endorsing these days?
The product is called Woof, WOF. So,
Okay,
dog parents out there, if you've got a
got a
dog, and
few.
yeah, I mean the popsicles are great, the Honest Chews are great. So that's what he's modeling. So yeah, we make some posts for them so we can get our name out there.
How do you do that? Do they approach you? Do you approach them? Like how does that work?
I mean, I think if you have a huge following, they might approach you, but a lot of these brands have you go on their site and they have like an ambassador program, and you can kind of try to enroll, right? Like you answer some questions and you give them their social media, and they go take a look at your social media and see if you have potential, and then they'll either agree or they disagree. So
Yeah,
we
very
got
cool.
lucky because we don't have very many followers, but we got lucky. So
But they could tell there's quality content there, and maybe they just needed the right product. Maybe Roey just need the right product to believe in them.
yeah.
Get get in the comments, y'all. Yeah, get in the comments, y'all, about this. If you have a pet that you want to learn how to launch a social media account for, or if you got questions here, get in the comments. Hit that like button as well. Um, Miriam says, "Hey, B, proud of you."
Oh, Miriam! Like I'm wearing my badge or my pin. Can you see it?
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Yes, I see it. What is the
yay!
significance?
So Miriam there, she's incredible. She started this community called Be Her, and so I'm part of the Beehive.
Nice.
And she created this program to help women in the mobility world around the world kind of get to learn from one another and be supported with one another. And it's really beautiful. And I saw, a great connection of mine post about her pin and being part of this community. I was like, I have to be part of that. Like that's everything I want in my life. I need to be part of that. So.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. What's up, Miriam? It's good to see you here. Appreciate you. Hit that like button. Get in the comments here. Show Destiny some love. Amazing insight and feedback, Destiny. So proud to have you as a coworker. That's from Kirby Walters.
Ah, yay.
What's up, Kirby? Thanks for joining the program there. Sharina's got a question. Sharina's our social media maven over here. She says, Destiny, how many pets do you have? And what's the
Ooh.
Instagram username?
Yeah, so I have three cats um, and one dog. And the username is Rowie and the Cats, ROWIE and the Cats. So,
Oh, all right. Rowie and the cats.
yes.
Now, does the dog do stuff with the cats on the? Is it like a? I mean, I'm gonna go check it out, so I'm gonna know here in a minute. But how do you get
Um,
dog? Cats and dogs aren't supposed to get along. How do you pull that off?
Oh my gosh, my kitten loves the dog. Like they're best friends. The other two older cats are like warming up to him. So I think I have some fun videos of like my middle cat and Rowie kind of like beefing and like playing with one another that I think
Uh
would be
huh.
fun videos. But yeah, my oldest cat, she was really connected to my other dog who passed, and so she's kind of having some she's a diva, so she's kind of just like, I don't know about you yet. So she's like, I don't want to play with you or hang out with you quite yet. But the other two cats, we're making content. We're working on
That's awesome.
it.
That's awesome. Get in the comments, y'all. Let us know. People are. Looks like we're gonna get a golden doodle account here. Is that what we need to
Woohoo!
do, Sharina? Golden doodles at Glomo doodles. That would be fun. Okay. Is there a piece of advice you'd give somebody who wanted to start a pet account?
Oh my gosh. I mean, know what you're getting into. Because I feel like a couple of days into like really like, all right, we're gonna do this. I was like, I can't do this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a part-time job, honestly, because if you want to make something out of it to like get ambassadorships and so forth, you have to constantly be on and engaging with other accounts, and that includes likes, comments. You have to be posting quality content, having the right, hashtags assigned to it. I knew there was a cat.
Tony, we were talking about this before this morning. We were talking about it. We're like, do you think it's a cat? Do you think it's a dog? What if it's a
Oh,
goldfish? I'm like, if it's a goldfish, it's going to be a long show. Okay.
no.
But we were happy to hear it was dogs and cats here. Tony knew it was a cat.
Oh, I love it. Yes, three
That's,
cats actually. I think I'm on like the borderline crazy cat lady at this point, right?
yeah. As long as you're in on it, that's all that matters. Miriam says, good to see you too, Ben. And there is a Be Him community too. So drop me a note.
There you
Okay.
go.
What would I do at a Be Him community? I might be down
It's
for some
really
of that.
fun. We're part of like WhatsApp groups, like with like the hundreds of us that are in this. So we have like a
Hmm.
personal beehive and the professional, and it is like so fun. Like I'm seeing pictures from all around the world of like what they did over the weekend. I'm like, wow, I also would like to be in France drinking wine, but
Yeah. I like that idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
Miriam.
it's really great. But I mean, what's great about the community is she goes in and the professional and she's asking, engaging questions that gets us all kind of chatting and getting us kind of, connecting in terms of topics that we're doing as corporates or as suppliers or how we're coming together. So it's really good. So the Be Him, I think you would be fantastic for Be Him.
You know what? I'm intrigued. Miriam, I will be in touch. Be in touch. And I'll start practicing my French wine drinking tonight. Big into homework. As you know, I like homework. I'm over here sending you questionnaires like homework. Um, let's let's have some fun here. What do you say? This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's get to know you a little bit better, Destiny.
Okay.
Okay. Let's you want to play a game with me, Destiny?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're gonna do a little overrated, underrated. Okay. Do
Ooh.
you know how to play the game?
You better give me a few pointers before we jump in here.
I'd be glad to. I will give you a topic, and you will tell me if it is either overrated or underrated.
Okay.
You can defend your position, and I
Okay.
will tell you if you are correct. Are you ready?
Oh, you're gonna tell me if I'm right? Like, is that even fair?
No, it's not. It's not fair at all. It is totally unfair.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And we're going to keep score too, because why not? All right. Overrated, underrated electric vehicles.
Overrated.
Ooh, EVs, overrated. Why?
I feel like I have to be careful with that, right? I work for a company that like manufactures automotive. So, and we're definitely in that EVs.
Yeah.
But I drive a hybrid personally.
Okay.
And it was kind of like it was before that whole the EV tax was changing and they were giving out really great deals. So I was like, all right, yeah, we'll give this hybrid Jeep a try. Um, I hate it. So not even a year into my lease, I like messaged my sales guy and I was like, if there's any way we can get out of this earlier, please let me know. No
What
EVs, no hybrids. We're going back to
what's the
gas.
deal? What's the problem with that with your hybrid Jeep? What do you hate about it?
Ah, so let me tell you,
Please.
honestly, the the dealership probably thought I was dumb because I didn't understand how the hybrid gas worked. Because like sometimes you'd be driving and it's like gas is on, you can hear the engine running, and then it would like stop, and like the RPM meter's like zero, but you're still driving. I freaked out and took it into the dealership and was like, "There's something wrong with this. You have to fix it." And they were like, "It's a hybrid."
Oh.
I was like, oh, well, I had no idea. But I have a plug-in hybrid, and the whole plugging in thing is just like
Ugh.
exhausting to me,
When
and
I
I'm over
park, I
it.
want to be done. Okay. When I park, I'm
Exactly.
over it. Like, I'm going to go inside. I want to take a nap. I want to go to a meeting. I want to do anything but be messing around with the outside of this vehicle right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I live in an area where it's like kind of harder to find, unless you want to pay to put one at your house, and like I rent, my landlord's gonna be like, we're not putting hundreds of dollars of electric chargers out here. So if I
Yeah.
charge it at home, it's taking 13 hours just to get me 26 miles on a charge, and I'm like,
Gosh.
I'll just go pump gas. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
At some point,
So,
I'm just pumping gas
yeah.
for sure.
So, Yeah, and it's more expensive. Like getting my tags last year, I almost fell to the floor when they told me how much a year tag was for a hybrid vehicle. I was like, are you sure?
This is a new one. So you're saying the tags cost more money for EVs or
Yeah, and
hybrids?
I mean, she said
Why?
it was even more money for like a fully electric vehicle. Um, so I don't know how it works for all the other states, right? But like for a gas in Ohio, like you're maybe looking around like 70, $80 for a tag every year. I
Okay.
mean, mine was almost $300 for a year for my hybrid. And yeah, I
Wow.
looked at her, I almost fell to the floor because I was like, for a year for my hybrid, like, what do
Not
you
even like a
mean?
2 year, like a 1 year.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, that's what it is for a hybrid. She's like, luckily you don't have an EV or you'd be paying even more money. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I messaged all my family and friend group chats and was like, FYI guys, just so you know, in case you wanted to get an EV vehicle.
All right. Well, you earned that point. You earned that point. Okay. Electric vehicles
Yes.
overrated. Give me the gas. All right. Sounds good.
Heck
Moving
yeah.
on here. Overrated, underrated K-pop.
Oh, underrated. I love K-pop.
What are they saying though? I mean, I like the tunes, but like, I mean, I'm in on the Demon Hunters. I mean, but what are they saying? I don't even know.
Hey, they do some English, get a
Okay.
translator, it'll be all right.
I guess I like a lot of Korean things. I like Korean televisions. I like Korean
Oh, me
food.
too. Oh,
I just if I just it lose. I'm a lyrics guy in the music. I'm a lyrics person, and like opera too. Like I want to be a person that goes to the opera and with the little glasses and like sits up there and judges people. But I can't. I don't know what they're saying. It loses me a little
oh
bit.
my gosh. I think my sister got me into it. And so I've been to a couple concerts and I think it's just always impressive. Like these groups like are singing and like fully
Fully
dancing
dancing,
for hours. And I mean singing. Like it's
not
not just
not
like,
lip syncing like 98 degrees. Like they're fully
yeah.
singing. Okay.
Yeah. And it's so impressive. And they're just so
Okay.
fun, They're just, they do fun stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
All
cute.
right. All right. I got to get into it maybe. I don't know. I like the skincare. I like a lot of things. I just don't know about the pop, you know?
Like if you're like doing like a workat, going for a run, it was like, I had
Ah,
a
you
coworker,
lost
she
me
was like,
there.
Destiny, you got me into like listening to K-pop when I'm running. And I'm like, you go, girl.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe if I started jogging, I'd be into K-pop. Okay. All right. I don't know if I can give you a point. I'm not
Oh,
convinced. I'm not convinced about K-pop. Okay. That's where I draw the K line. All right. I like
ugh.
K-Town in New York. I like karaoke. The pop, I just don't know
You
about it,
said
you
you like
know?
the K-dramas. Are you watching the K-dramas that are dubbed or are you watching it and you're reading the subtitles?
I'm like Squid Games or something. Like is that Korean? I
Oh,
think that is that
okay.
one? I don't
So
know. You
I
don't know?
watch like Korean and Chinese dramas and I watch it in like those languages and just read the subtitles. It's really good.
I don't mind that. I'll read this. I mean, it's basically Peaky Blinders for me because I couldn't understand a word they were saying either. If I didn't have the subtitles, I would have like not lasted a whole episode. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, yeah,
Oh,
I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, I'm a subtitle. I'm a subtitle. Are you a subtitles on or subtitles off person?
I'm a subtitles on now, like for anything at this point. So,
I used to not be, and
mhm.
then I realized I just caught so much more of the. Well, I told you I'm like a lyrics person. I was like an English major, so I enjoy the writing. I enjoy the witty writing. Sometimes they tuck these little jokes in that like you don't hear, but you read and you catch it. Or
Uh-huh.
or they're playing music in another room, and that music actually like pertains to the storyline, but you would have never caught the lyrics or the music, the fact it was even happening. If
Uh,
you didn't have the benefits of subtitles, so I'm now a subtitles
uh,
person. What about you, Sharina? Are you subtitles or no sub on? You're an on person, even for English
oh.
speaking, everything on? Yeah, yeah, same. I'm with you on that. Yeah, okay. Moving on here. Next one up. Overrated, underrated, return to office mandates.
Ooh.
Painful,
Um,
huh?
yeah, I mean, ooh. I mean, there's like the HR corporate side of me who like sees the point. Like, why do we want people to come back to the office? But then like there's the other part of me who's like, some of these jobs, I mean, why am I in the office every day?
hmm
Like, it makes no
hmm
sense. I'm in the office, but I'm still Teams messaging with someone two rooms over.
Right.
So make it make sense.
Yeah.
How do
It's
I don't
tough.
know. I don't know if I can draw a line.
Well, you have to. That's the game. Overrated or underrated? Pick
Um,
one.
okay, so I think I would say overrated for the fact that I feel like there's a lot of people just making people return to work to make people return to work because they just want to watch people work or be in the office. And I think that they're not really kind of looking at how good this could be for, productivity when people have a more work-life balance and have a little more flexibility.
I think you make an excellent point. I think there are certain types of jobs that are best done remotely and certain types of jobs that are best done in the office. There are also certain types of people who work best in the office, certain types of people who work best not there. There's also certain types of people in certain types of jobs at certain points in their career that are best in person versus, yeah. And I think mandates imply that it's an across the board sweeping, you know, hey,
Hmm.
everybody's got to do this. And I think
Right.
there's a lot of nuance that gets lost in that. We were very much a 100% in office, thing for a while. We've just started hiring remote people. Again, we still bring them in for meetings and things like that. It's really tough. I was just on a call today. I made a post about it. Nobody liked it because it was too controversial. But I made
Oh,
a
I did
post.
read that post.
Yeah, nobody
Sorry.
liked it though. Thanks for not liking it. No, but I just made a I
Are you
just made a
sure?
post about it. But no, because basically they were trying to do something hard, put a
Mm-hmm.
new software in, and they couldn't get people to change their behavior. And I think there's something about like behavior modification, behavior changing that's best done in person. Because if left to our own devices, like over here at home, like I'm just gonna kind of work around. I'm gonna use the old system, whatever. And that was just another thought for it. So it's a tough thing to your point, like drawing the line on this and saying yes or no, overrated, underrated, because it's a very
Mm-hmm.
nuanced conversation. Um, yeah, Miriam finds your face funny, so that there's that.
Thank you.
People
Thank you.
dig the subtitles for sure. Yes. I over you know I think this should be the standard, and remote should be the exception. In office should be the standard, remote should be the exception. I think that's kind of where we were. But even before COVID, I think 30% of the workforce or something like that was like 20 or 30% was like remote anyway. And I think
Hmm.
that getting close to that number is probably not a bad thing. I actually find sometimes the productivity increases remotely. We chat a lot here. We just hang out, we
Yes,
chat,
exactly. Like I'm in the office, like yapping it up with all these
yeah.
people, and when I go home, like, oh, I actually need to sit here and do something today.
Yeah, deep
You
work
know.
is best done like that too. So, I'll give you a point on this one. This is a tough one. That's a really hard one.
Yay.
All right, next one up. Overrated, underrated 4-day work weeks.
Ooh, I think those are underrated.
Underrated. Okay, tell me
Yeah.
about this.
I don't know. I think, and maybe we can blame COVID for it, but COVID obviously everyone's working from home and everything's a lot more flexible. I think like we're seeing a lot more, especially with the younger generations, that we want a work-life balance. We don't
Hmm.
want to have to be stuck 8 to 10 hours a day in the office. And most of
Hmm.
us are still having to jump on our phone or laptop in the evenings or on the weekends. And it's just kind of like, I think you would get a lot more productivity and I don't know,
Yeah.
just more from, setting a 4-day work week and giving people a little extra time to breathe and be flexible. I don't know. I think that would
So you think
work.
it makes people more productive but now
I'd
your
be,
workday gets longer, doesn't it, theoretically?
I mean, I could make 8 hours work in a 4-day work week.
Well, then wouldn't you
It,
be also advocating for like a 20% decrease in wages?
yeah, probably, right? That would probably be
Be
like
careful
the
what you wish
unfortunate
for.
part.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
know.
you could do
Ah,
more with less. Yeah, sure. You want to only get
yeah,
paid for
I
32 hours
know.
a week.
But I like the idea of like a better work-life balance.
What would
I
you do if
hate
you
seeing
every
people.
weekend was a 3-day weekend?
I'd be so happy. It's
No, I
like,
mean,
you
besides how
have.
would you feel? What would you do with that time?
I mean, like, I feel like at this point, like,
Learn
you have like one
Korean.
day is like, exactly. No, you got like one day for recovery, and then you've got like one day you got to get all your chores done and prep for the week. A little extra day to like buffer in there would be great,
Yeah.
right? Like 2 days just doesn't feel like enough.
Oh man. Yeah, I
Like
guess.
Friday night, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like go order dinner, and then I've got all day Saturday to figure my life out, and Sunday I've got to do laundry, meal prep, go to the grocery. It's just like That's
I
a
think the
lot.
key
Let's take
is
a
the
break.
key is to go hard on a Friday night. If you go hard on a Friday night, you feel like you have a full weekend. If you don't,
Oh
and
my
then you just
gosh.
like mail it in on Friday night, and then Saturday's already there, and then like you didn't plan anything, and then you get like Sunday comes around, you're like, oh my God, I just lost my weekend. Like, where did it all go? I didn't have anything. I didn't do anything. That's when I get the Sunday scaries. You know, I'm like, oh no, it's slipping away from me.
Going hard on a Friday night?
Oh
I,
yeah,
I want
that's
to
what
be
you
in
would do.
bed by 10 p.m.
Yeah, if you're really an overachiever, you go hard on a Thursday night, and then Friday you just
Oh
kind of you still
no.
go to work, but you just mail it in. That's all. Okay, just
You
mail
just
it in.
mail it in.
Just mail it
Oh
in. Yeah,
no.
it's back when the
N-
mail was important. Christelle says you put the same hours in most cases. Okay, all right. Kirby's all in on the 4 day work week. Also, you and Kirby sounds like you have a movement going there. I don't know. I think this is. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it's a slippery slope. The flip side of this is a
Yeah.
reduce wages.
Again, I can see both sides, but I think you hear like there are other, countries that are maybe kind of piloting it, and I'm like, I want to see what that looks like because that sounds kind of
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
You
All
know?
right. All right. Let's go. Moving on here. Last one. Overrated, underrated cheerleading.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you threw that in here. Um, I'm a diehard cheerleader, okay? And like I was the person in high school arguing that cheerleading is a sport. So cheerleading is underrated.
Cheerleading's
Cheerleading's great.
underrated. You know, I am with you. I think cheerleading is underrated, and I think it is a sport because I know it's a sport because if you can break your ankle, you're playing a sport. Okay, and
True.
Jill on our team, she shattered her ankle pretty bad cheerleading, so it must be
Ooh.
it must be a sport.
Yeah, I mean, we used to train like the football team. Like we would be out there running laps while the football team is practicing on the field. So it's like I'm working just as hard as these football players, okay? Like
Okay,
this
yeah,
is a sport.
I hear that. Heather's saying Destiny doesn't go hard, Ben. LOL.
Oh my
Okay, fine.
gosh. Yeah, she knows I'm like a little grandma. She's like she when I was in Tennessee, she was like if I was there, I'd be dragging you out every night and I was like, I'm glad you're not here.
Yeah, it's funny because Jill on my team is also like a grandma, but she was a cheerleader. So there's something about cheerleaders, just I don't know, just being grandmas, I guess. Heather said she would go to concerts and play with Rowie. That's what she would do. Jill says underrated, most underrated one on this show. There, yeah, I knew that was for Jill.
Heck
Awesome,
yeah.
Jill. All right, yep, I'll give that one to you. Not bad, not bad right there. I think we got I think it was a 3 or 4. I think you got a lot of points. You got a lot of points, Destiny. Really
Yes.
nice. Really nice. Miriam says you only need 1 day a week to figure out your life. How?
Yeah. I mean, we're figuring it out every day, but to have one extra day to kind of just really, really dig into
Really
figuring that
figure it
out,
out. That's
that would be
awesome.
great.
Well, I hope everyone out there's figured out their life now with Destiny Hess here. This is great. Follow her dog on the socials here. And Destiny, this has been a real pleasure.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great. Great discussion, good laughs. I'm, excited you asked me to join.
Oh, we have a last second question. I gotta
Ooh.
ask it. Under the gun. Mel says, "What is Destiny's favorite concert?"
Oh, so this always surprises everyone that like my top music genre is like heavy metal.
Oh,
Like
awesome.
I listen to a lot of metal rock. But my best friend and I just went to Detroit back in February to see my favorite band, Bad Omens, and
Okay.
it was amazing. Like I don't know if
Nice.
anything will ever top it. It was so good.
That's
So
awesome. That's fantastic. That's
yeah, we did
awesome.
go hard at the Whitney brunch buffet the next day after that concert too, Heather. Yes, I had to be almost rolled out of that place.
I love it. I love that's when you're doing it right. Hey, thanks everybody who tuned in today. Get in the comments there. Leave Destiny some love in the comments here and hit that like button for us. We appreciate you out there. What's up, Anthony? It's good to see you, buddy. And thanks, Sharina. Thanks so much. Great job as usual producing the show. We will see y'all next week, huh? Yeah, we're gonna go hard tonight. Let's go. It's Thursday night. Let's go.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah, we're going crazy tonight. Destiny, this is
Have
a real
fun.
pleasure. It's so great. I can't wait to hang out with you in Detroit.
Oh, thank you. It'll be great to see you.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, everybody. See you later.